Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
To obtain additional copies, receive a free catalog of AA and Al-Anon talks, or to find out about our tape and CD of the Month Club, call Encore Audio Archives at 1-800-878-1308 or visit our website at www.12steptapes.com.
Hi, my name is Steve, and I am indeed a very grateful member of Al-Anon. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to tell a joke at the beginning, and it involves the devil. And let me explain who that person is. It's not of any particular gender, and the devil is part of an anonymous underworld program, which is not allied with any sect or denomination. The person is often thought of as evil, but the person really did the best he could under the circumstances. So, Daddy and Mommy and Stevie are in a car, and they're on vacation. They're driving along a mountain road, and off they go and crash and die. It's just a story. So the devil comes up to Daddy and says, how did you get here? Daddy says, well, had a few drinks and went off the cliff. Devil goes up to Mommy and says, how did you get here? And she said, he was drinking, and we went off the cliff. And Daddy says, yeah, but she drove me to it. The devil goes up to Stevie and says, well, how did you get here? And Stevie says, I'm not here, and it's not hot. You got it. Okay. You got it. Paradox. Welcome to my life. I have to tell a secret. Part of that paradox is several living sobers ago, I was sitting down there and I went, oh, I could do that. I can speak. And I'll do the best job ever because I'll prepare for it. And that is such an unrealistic thing. Duh. And at the same time is, what the heck am I doing up here right now? And that's the paradox that I live with. It's these two things that make no sense together, but welcome to my life. And for some of us, welcome to our lives. It's that denial and awareness dance that I go through. And as it was read earlier, no longer terrified, we are free to delight in life's paradox, mystery, and awe. I'm from Chicago, that great American city that divides alcohol from beer and wine. And it's just not the signs on the liquor stores, where they actually have some stores that sell beer and wine, but not alcohol. But it's a psychological thing too. My family, if you took whiskey and you put 7-Up or ginger ale in it, it wasn't alcohol. It was a cocktail. So beer, wine, cocktails, but we're not alcoholic. I'm an only child. There's a program for that. And, I hear the shares, through the years of the different roles that children have to play. And I got all of them, as did some of you. And I was a surrogate for my mother and my father. So there was this wicked triad that kept going on. And if I was having time with Dad, Mom would assert herself. And if I was having time with Mom, Dad would just sit on the sidelines. And so I never had really a complete relationship with either one of them, still being an only child. I developed acute awareness that I needed to have antenna to figure out what they were not saying to me. What is it that they wanted? And I will tell you that antenna really worked very well, and does to this day, with my mother and my father, who have both died, and it doesn't work with you all. I try. I want you to understand what's going on. I want to figure it out, but that antenna doesn't work. All of my family on both sides had this antenna. We're of East European stock, and that what that means, kind of, sort of, is that we're very quiet. We're very lower middle class, and we're worried about what other people think of us. And it manifests itself in very weird ways, like plastic covers on the sofa, plastic covers on the car seats, plastic covers on our emotions. Neither my father or my mother are alcoholic, which is kind of strange to me because I feel now that I so belong in here. But they come from that stock where everybody there had basements, and everybody there had a second refrigerator in that basement, which had to be stocked with beer. If we were down to one case, you were running low. You may not have had on your social calendar that family or friends were coming over, but you had to go out to the beer wine store and get another 2 cases of beer, and often have them stacked up. I remember as a child sitting on cases of beer if I went down to the basement and played. You know, we were the only family that didn't have a refrigerator, but we had the stacks of cases of beer because you had to be prepared. It was also a family of a lot of secrets, and it was part of the really caring about what other people think of you to the extreme. We've had innumerable young ones, 1, 2 years old, that died and then were just never talked about. Pictures would get buried. Cousins, aunts, and uncles through the generations. We have, at last count, 3 sets of first cousins who married. So, yeah, really. Those East Europeans, it's like, Appalachia, forget it. We can outdo you. I always wondered why the last names were always the same. Like, what is this? I want to tell one story about my grandparents, my father's parents. It was their 50th anniversary. And we were going to have a big celebration, and all the cousins, and I'm the oldest on that, we're going to chip in, and we were really looking forward to this. This is going to be a big family reunion. It's a huge family on that side. And but they didn't have a marriage certificate for my grandparents. So my aunt, who was a bigwig in Chicago, went and searched for it and found the marriage certificate. My aunt's the second oldest, and she looked at the date of the certificate and her birth date and went, these are kind of close. Because my father, who was the oldest, she knew his birth date, was really close to the date of the marriage. So this whole celebration that we're all looking forward to came crashing down. It stopped. Nobody said anything. It's a family secret. We're not going to talk about it. Yeah. What celebration? La, 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 la. It wasn't going to happen because my dad was already in the womb when they got married. And finally, I found a picture of My grandmother, who's a tall woman, and she had this bouquet that had this huge doily thing with flowers that Alejandra would have been wonderful to carry down, I know. And she's holding it like this. So there's this big circle, and then there's this stomach that goes beyond it. And thank God for faxing, and I had some phone numbers of my cousins because we got a good kick out of that. And it's like, but it was this horrible thing that happened to the family, and we were like, what? All of that energy spent on keeping the secrets was so much more detrimental than the amount of celebration we could have had. Welcome to my life. I never had a friend over for lunch or dinner. It wasn't until I hit my 40s where I really realized that. No kids from the neighborhood, from school, ever came over for lunch or dinner or a sleepover or even to go down to the basement and play inside. It never happened. I didn't know I was missing something. This is a disease of choices and opportunities. I didn't know I had the opportunity. It's the paradox. I was missing something and I kind of knew it, but I didn't know I had the choice to actually do something about it. Food was served on the platter. There was no help yourself. Here's what you're going to eat. You finish it all. You don't ask for seconds. It didn't feel like I was being psychologically whipped, but I was. Basic choices that I didn't have. I would come out of the shower in the morning, get ready for school, and my clothes would be laid out on my bed. Unfortunately, at the time, I was going to the University of Illinois and driving there. So I didn't grow up with the alcoholic father or mother, but I certainly grew up with their disease because they are both adult children of alcoholics. And I know that I can be some of the most dangerous people around. Because it just wasn't clear to me. When I would hear stories after I got in recovery of the violence that would happen in your relationships, I have to tell you, I was jealous because it was anything. When I would be at someone's house, I remember being over a workmate's house, and the wine was just flowing freely, and the front room was actually the dining room, and the door was propped wide open, even though it was winter, and the neighbors were coming in and out and eating spaghetti and drinking the wine and screaming at each other and throwing things, and I thought I was at the circus. I wanted that so bad. Because this is what I had. I had this shut down life. Fortunately for me, there was some higher power intervention in that I was lucky enough to hang around with a whole bunch of people that were in recovery or were about to get into recovery back in Chicago. And it really was, I was attracted to what they had. I didn't know what they had. I didn't know they had something. I didn't know it was attractive, but I was. And it took moving to San Francisco to kind of jar the system and get into program. I was primed for that, but it really took the biggest addict in my life, somebody who I played music with, and we would just finish each other's sentences, literally and musically, to finally just one day, out of context, turn to me and go, "You need Al-Anon." And he was right. So I can't say I had a big about coming into program, but the big addict tells the codependent about, "You need Al-Anon." I said, "Okay, yes, sir, I will go." And it was the magic of being in that and not quite hearing my story, but sensing this is the right place and the right time for me. But I couldn't quite figure it out because my dad and my mom weren't alcoholics. I wasn't married to one. And it took years in the program to realize that everybody in my family, other than my mom and dad, drank and drank and drank. And because we were a shut-down family, they would drink and they'd be happy. I don't know if they were joyous and free, but they were happy, and I adored them. I remember a few years ago on my bucket list was to tell one of my cousins how much I adored her parents, who were always very, very wonderful and warm and touchy with me. And I said, Marilyn, I just have to tell you this. I really, really loved your parents. And she looked at me and she said, the drunks. What? I got back at her because she became caretaker for my mother.
To obtain additional copies, receive a free catalog of AA and Al-Anon talks, or to find out about our tape and CD of the Month Club, call Encore Audio Archives at 1-800-878-1308, or visit our website at www.12steptapes.com.
I was a world champion people pleaser because my parents really didn't tell me what they needed, and I developed those antennae to go after that. I had to please them. I didn't know what that was, but I became very, very good at it. The reward of it wasn't that great, but became very good at it. And as I started venturing out into life, I still was that world champion people pleaser, except it didn't work like it did at home. So I just had to try a little harder, because that, of course, will put everything into a place. And what I realized, and this has only been somewhat recently, I realized that when I people please, my energy is not in pleasing you and bringing you into my life. My energy is into keeping you from going away. So maybe some of you need to go away, like some of my ex-boyfriends. But, I would keep on with them. That energy of keeping people from running away and not drawing them in meant that I was liked with a small L by almost everybody. But I wasn't really liked, because I wasn't doing anything that was going to be truly me, that some of you would go, God, he's great, and some of you would go, it was a pablum. It was like oatmeal without anything else in it, just bland. And that's what I thought I had to do. So I walked into Al-Anon. And it took a while before I heard my story, and I finally did. And I finally realized that this is the place. And if it looked like a rose and smelled like a rose and stung like a rose, it was probably a rose. And I was lucky to have some people share early on with me their experience on this too. The problem was, as I came in, I was pretty smart. I'm not smarter than anybody in this room, but I've heard other people say this. So I tried to smart my way through Al-Anon. It's like, well, because my parents aren't alcoholic, I'm not as bad as you, so I don't need to make phone calls. I'm going to read a pamphlet. I don't need to read literature. I need to get a sponsor. He's cute. That didn't work. And then I picked a sponsor who was very popular. And I thought, well, maybe I could get on the in crowd and get the popular sponsor. Well, he had 27 sponsees, and he worked 3 programs. Like, I was going to get time, and I didn't know how to really to work a program and be assertive and say, this is what I want, this is what I need. I was, the sponsor was my new parent. It's like, what do you want me to do? I also got hooked up with some people, God bless them, who were smarting their way through, so we just thought we were just so smart. And that is the quick road to become the Al-Anon police. And I still wear that, and I am working diligently on getting rid of that because I am not your higher power as much as I would like to be. Those first several years in Al-Anon, I call Stephen on because I was my own higher power. I got programmed by osmosis because I had my ass in the chair, but I really didn't work it like it would work me back. Osmosis.
Sorry to interrupt your viewing. Taper Dave here. Just wanted to take a second to ask you to like and subscribe to my channel and let me know if you like what you're listening. I've got some very good talks here, and this one's a great one. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Tell me what you think.
After about 6-7 years, I thought I graduated. People had long-term program. I wasn't listening to their shares when I was getting a little bored, and thought I had everything together. And I didn't make a conscious decision. It's time to leave Al-Anon, but you make a choice. I think I'm going to watch TV tonight, so go to a meeting. And next thing you know, I was outside of the meetings for some years. What I wasn't told is that the family disease of alcoholism is cunning, baffling, and powerful. And while I don't choose to act out my addictions through alcohol, not having program and not working it with my level of disease was very dangerous. And I looked around at my life and said, this ain't working, and I can't put my finger on why. And I was starting to get more and more depressed and more lonely and alone and isolating and putting up a good front and started people-pleasing. And I went, oh, wait, I know what this is like. I've done this. I've done this for decades. And I got some semblance of recovery in these rooms by working a program, albeit by osmosis. But I did some work, and I got some recovery. And it felt like I lost it. And I wanted to quit smoking, and I went to the Lion Martin Quit Smoking Clinic, and they suggested adding on a 12-step program. And that little comment went, ding, go back to Al-Anon. And I went back to my home meeting, and I said, I'm going to do this a little bit differently than I've done it before. I'm going to work it. It's not a 12-meeting program. It's a 12-step program. It's not a 12-slogan program. It's a 12-step program. How you work it is up to you, but I decided I really wanted to work it. And I said, I need a kick-ass sponsor. And I came to Living Sober, and I heard someone speak and went, oh, this is the person. And so after the meeting was kind of done, I waddled my way up, and a person in this program who I really admire was standing on the side, and I went up to him and I went, I'm going to ask her to be my sponsor. And he looked up at her, and he looked at me, and he looked up at her, and he looked at me, and he said, I think that's a great idea. What I didn't know was he was her sponsor. And she was higher power. And she had shared that she wanted a gung-ho sponsee that she could work with and was going to turn it over and come to Living Sober. So, it was a match. It was a match made in a meeting, and and she kicked my ass. Here's some things that I've really learned from working this program and from the shares that you've given me. Figuring it out is not a slogan. First time I heard that years ago, I was in that big Monday night meeting, and and there's 100 people there, and 50 people went, "What?" What you think of me is none of my business. Damn. That's a hard one to let go of. There's a lot of payback for me. But what you think of me is none of my business. Detaching with love, or manners, or an axe with an amends attached to the handle later on, if that's what I've got to do. What's my part in it? My side of the street. I no longer confuse love and pity. And that's both ways. It's me too. Like, how do I get you into my life by having you pity me? I've done it. I no longer am confusing forgiving and forgetting. I would bring someone in my life who would, not their fault, I'm the doormat, stomp all over me, and then I would build this resentment and never forgive you. But I would forget that you do it, and I'd invite you in the next day, and just playing that cycle over and over again. Saying no, period. Saying no to good people. Saying no to job opportunities. And this is blowing up right now on something, the job that I'm quitting, because it doesn't work for me. Saying no to good people because we're just not meant for each other. Saying no to one situation versus another where they're both good. It took me a long time to go, this is a bad one, this is a bad one, to realize I didn't need either one. When I have two good situations and I can only choose one, I'm learning how to do that. And it's an amazing gift of this program. This is a new one somebody's given me, and this actually came in through Alateen. A higher power small enough for me to understand is not big enough to handle my problems. Oh. A higher power small enough for me to understand is not big enough to handle my problems. I found the off button. There's an off button that when I start spinning, I can hit the off button. I know how to do that now. When I start obsessing, when I start going into fear, when I'm in it, there's an off button. And that may be just saying, I know what this is, Steve, stop. It may be saying the Serenity Prayer 1 or 20 times. It may be doing the steps 1, 2, and 3 waltz over and over again. I have on my desk at work a button. It says easy on it. It's from an office supply store that shall remain anonymous. And one of the ways that I practice my program at work is attraction. So that I was in one of my coworkers' offices figuring out his computer and downloading some stuff on it, and he had think, thoughtful, honest, intelligent, necessary, and kind up in the center of his wall. And I know where he got that from, because I happened to mention that at a meeting when we were all like cussing out somebody. And I said, and I'm seeing this more and more, just my workmates. So I have this button sitting on my desk. And when I run into a problem, and it isn't like a work, how do I do this thing, but it's more of the core issue stuff. When I have that and I stop, work my program around it, then I go,
that was easy.
And now I've got others coming by, like when they have something similar, they'll come running out to my desk. That was easy. Because it's true. I didn't know that. I didn't know that some of the stuff that's so paradoxically difficult could be actually that easy once I've worked the program. I have a current sponsor who I adore. And what was interesting is my previous sponsor had left the program. It's out of my control. She decided to leave. And I was sitting there thinking, like, who can I ask? Let's take all the cute ones and put them away. I'm not going to ask them. Take all the really popular ones that I see, with their 47 sponsees and move them out. But who do I admire? And I got a phone call from someone that said, let's have dinner. It's like, yeah, I've never had dinner with you. Let's go do this. And it turned out she had the same sponsor I did. And we both said, So I have a great co-sponsor now, and I heartily recommend that if you've got a big year on your chip and you're finding, some problems getting a sponsor, find somebody to co-sponsor. I have to put a plug in. I haven't found anywhere in literature it says you can only have one sponsor. I just want to say that. You have different needs for different things. Go use it. One of the things that I really love about this program is the way it's a playground for me. It's a laboratory, and it's real life. When I first thought about practicing these principles in all my affairs, and I would hear that, well, I need affairs to practice them in, and that's true. I did. Yeah. But I saw it, that either-or thinking that there's this line. So, I'll come over here and be Al-Anon and be healthy and hear all this stuff, and now I have to go over here outside of Al-Anon, completely divorced from that, and make friends over here and expect them to know when I'm speaking Al-Anon what I'm talking about. I found out that that's for me, an unnecessary boundary, and that when I make friends, and I don't use that word lightly, because I haven't known how to do that from my upbringing. But when I make friends, I'm finding that it's not easy, it's the best way, is to hear the shares in the meetings, meeting after meeting, week after week, month after month, and know that that person has something that I want. And I may have something that they want. And just go out for coffee. I found so much of doing fellowship in this program. And I want to close by my previous sponsor she was a ritualist, as am I. I'm going into much about that, but she wanted me to write something about fellowship, and we're going to go out to the beach and watch the sunset. And I wrote this, and this is the way I really kind of feel about you. This is not Al-Anon approved literature, but it's from me. I love the way that you walk in front of me, holding your experienced hand out to me, leading the way to new and fearless paths. I love the way that you walk behind me, letting me find my own strength with a nudge of encouragement and a word of hope. I love the way that we walk beside each other step by step, sharing our concerns and joys, our slips and our insights, letting us just be in our serenity. The paradox is that it's an honor to be in this program with you. And it's a necessity to be in this program with you. When I am spinning, when I am slipping, and I am on my own and have nothing else to turn to, the 3 steps, 1, 2, and 3, over and over again. If I can't do that, it's step 1. It's just step 1. If I can't do that, it's the first word of the first step, which is the most important one of all of them to me, and that is we. I am so grateful that I have become a part of we here.
That was easy.
Thank you.
We hope you've enjoyed this recording. To obtain additional copies, receive a free catalog of AA and Al-Anon talks, or to find out about our tape and CD of the Month Club, call Encore Audio Archives at 1-800-878-1308 or visit our website at www.12steptapes.com.
I think we got a great talk going on here. Thanks for watching the channel. Taper Dave here. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs, long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst, then one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, oop, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. I don't know if that shows up. The gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.